Okay, it's my turn. You see my topic, very straight and clear, and I hope this topic will catch up your eyeballs. Actually, I was struggling if I should use a more serious title, such as How Can Small and Mid-sized Industrial Enterprises in EU Share High-End Markets in China? But finally, I decide just to follow my heart. Money. Okay, then let's talk about how to earn big money in China. Due to Corona this year, Chinese spend the Spring Festival at home, but normally we make parties with our families, friends, colleagues, and in the party we gave a hongbao to kids. And hongbao is just a red envelope with cash inside, real cash. When I was a kid, I got each hongbao with the amount about 200 to 500 RMB inside, roughly 25 to 70 euro. And now the amount should increase due to inflation, maybe double. Anyway, you see, we have this Kindergeld system since 1,000 years ago. Even in ancient Chinese culture, there is a god of wealth. What's more, it is not just one wealth god, but several in different positions. However, you tell that China is a market economy country since thousands of years ago. Not all companies earn money in China. EU companies, especially Germany companies, earned quite a lot of money in China. That is true. But not all companies were successful in China. Some of them were failed, and most of the small and mid-sized enterprises were just watching. I will share you a story. These two companies are competitors in wood machine industry, Hormack and another one. I don't mention the name, just call it Company X. I knew both of them quite well. Hormack started China business at late 1980s with their Chinese business partner, Goldfield Company from Hong Kong. And just several years later, Company X entered this market with their strategy partner, Anderson from Taiwan. And both companies started to produce machines and parts with local partners to reduce their cost. Both of them entered the China market at the same time, adopted a similar strategy. They did the same thing in China market, but the result quite different. Till 2010, Hormack became top one in this market and sold thousands of machines. But the company X just sold five machines in China. Until 2018, this company X was acquired by a Chinese group. Similar strategy but different result. So this story, I'm just telling you, even your company has good technology, stable finance situation, high quality product, clear market positioning, and found good partner and went to China in the right time, the result is still uncertainty. So for small and mid-sized enterprises, the situation is more complex as the technique and the applications are very special and professional. And this is not easy to tell if this failure was caused by business or by the technique. China is a socialism country. There are quite a big amount of state-owned enterprises in this market, totally different as private companies. To understand how to do business with these state-owned enterprises is another complex topic. Maybe we talk about it in some other day. To understand the business logics in China, first of all, we must know the economic history in China in the recent 70 years. For normal consuming market, before 1980s, it was a shortage economy in China. After that, the commercial needs bloomed. There were too many results that are not fulfilled, so even fool earns big money at that moment. But now normal commercial market needs development silence. China needs deeper reform to break through. For example, in China, only very rich people can afford for a house. Most Chinese people live in apartments. But rich guys seldom cut grass themselves. They will hire gardeners. So the garden machines market doesn't exist in China. And also, for example, for the sport flight, the government is discussing to open the air domain for commercial use. Currently, it is totally controlled by military and the central government. But in this market, players are mostly big international groups, seldom some small companies from EU in these companies. It is business. And most small and mid-sized enterprises, they're mostly in the industrial market. Actually, Chairman Mao started to invest the heavy industry since the foundation of a People's Republic of China. During the Cold War, military industry was the biggest investment, which almost made China's economy bankrupt. After the Cold War, China's light industry recovers very fast to fulfill the request from commercial market request. And in this market, private companies grow fast. Chinese economists call this stage private forward and the government backward. And then, since 2000, China's heavy industry recovered quickly. So state-owned companies started to grown up again and faster than private companies. So till now, the U.S. President Trump believes that China will give up capitalism but go to communism as state-owned companies become stronger and stronger, and smaller sized private companies are not easy to get cheap financing support from the bank, as the state-owned bank prefer to loan to the state-owned companies. So most EU small and mid-sized companies are in this market, providing components, machines, software, service, material, technique, consulting, and so on. For small and mid-sized companies, there are two types of key account in China: private company and state-owned companies. Today, we will only talk about the private company. They are the customer or partners for most of the small and mid-sized companies from EU. So, uh, let's talk about the Chinese boss. Most boss of private companies you met in China were poor in their childhood and became rich just in recent 20 to 40 years. So when they spend money, Chinese bosses behavior like two totally different people. When they spend money on themselves, they were mostly like this show-off guy. I just found these Indian pictures from Google. While most Chinese millionaire has a similar taste and style. A Chinese boss may invite you a very luxury dinner and pay the five-star hotel for you just to show his generous and friendship. Until still very far away from his signing the contract. Once I visited a Chinese boss in China with my German colleague. This Chinese boss pick up us in airport with his Bentley car, but it doesn't mean he will buy our expensive machines. And when they spend money on his business, they change to another person, like this one. Most Chinese boss hate risk, even a little. They would prefer to copy an existing product or business model rather than innovation. So different as EU and Japan private or family companies, the boss takes care of the family business as a hobby. So they will invest a lot of money into the workshop, machine, and process research. Some of the Chinese boss make the business just for money, and some of them just prefer to buy very cheap machines, very cheap equipment, which means if the business goes worse, this boss can just sell the machines and keep his money safe. I have a friend in China. His company is already very huge, but in his factory, he seldom use automation solutions. Each worker operates a machine as a working station. In his factory, There are hundreds of this kind of human machine working stations, and he has several these kind of factories. So his logic is very clear. If the economy goes down and the market became not that attractive, he can just sell the machines and fire the laborers and change to another business. So currently for Chinese manufacturers, the bosses are facing several big challenges and they became confusing. As you know the history and the background of these Chinese bosses, you will get feelings how to make business with your Chinese customer and partners. Maybe you need to drink a lot of Mao, but it doesn't mean anything. Here are some tips when you're doing business in China. Tip 1. Only top 1 earns big money in China. Followers earn much less. So you still remember the story from the wood industry that I just mentioned. Hallmark is the first one. Hallmark is the champion and earned quite a lot of money in China. But in China, who is the second one in this market? People in this market will give you quite different answers. But in the worldwide, the second biggest world's machine group is the SCM from Italy. Almost everywhere in the world, Hallmark is the first and SCM is the second one. But in China, SCM seems not in the second position. Hallmark took most of the market shares and the followers took much less. So to be the champion of the specific market also depends on how to distinguish the market. So the market is its positioning is extremely important, even just to define the difference by countries. In China, most Chinese machinery producer will tell you their customers, oh hey look, this part is from Germany, very good quality and reliability, but it's just a little bit expensive. And if you want a cheaper one, you can choose this from Japan. It's also good. But when this Chinese producer talking about the elements or functional parts from Germany, he just means Festo. And when they talk about the Japanese product, it just means the SMC, no other option product. So each section market just one champion product. China's market is huge and changing fast. Sometimes our Chinese customers get a huge order, but after 2 years, when this contract is finished, this Chinese manufacturer will never get this kind of order again, which is very different as the EU, US, and the Japanese business. The cooperation is always in long term. In China, to earn big and quick money is very common. So the small and mid-sized companies from EU must realize and respect this business logic. I share my own story. About 10 years ago, there are hundreds of smartphone producers in China, but now it's just several left. At that moment, the market was extremely good. Even very poor people start to use 4G smartphones. As the end consuming market bloomed, so the share parts suppliers always get a lot of huge orders. So they need to buy machines. At that moment, I had a very good project. The partner wanted us to develop a better machine with a reasonable price. I made a solution proposal like this. Compared with our standard machine competitor, my technique solution is perfect. It's about 4 to 5 times productivity, replaced 6 people, and saved quite a lot of labor cost. And the price is reasonable, 3 times more cost, but 5 times more productivity. But finally, I lost this order because as soon as this customer gets the order, he will start to loan money from the bank and recruit people and leasing the machine. To reduce the risk, he will prefer the standard machines because if this OEM contract finished and no further cooperation, he will resell these machines easily, lay off the laborers, and close the factory and take over all his investment. So, as a high-tech EU company, there is very little chance to sell one single machine in such a fast-changing market. To be successful, we must adopt an effective strategy. Different as a government in Western countries, Chinese government sometimes plays the role as a big company. Central government like a chairman of the board, local government like CEOs of subsidiary companies. They are very powerful and you can negotiate tax policy, land price, and even investment with them. If you want to develop your business in China, you can just start with contacting with economy department of local government, and the officers will introduce you some potential partners and investors. And it is a very easy way to establish a representative office with very little cost and start to visit potential customer and promote market. Of course, finally, the Chinese government hopes that you will fund a factory and provide more work positions for local people. Here's the most common way to be successful for EU small and mid-sized companies. To pick up niche market at the beginning so that you will have a quick success, but the competition come very fast as you imagine. So you need to improve embarrass, such as technique advantages, competitive price, and better service systems to reduce the surviving space of your competitors. For example, Fokker machine. 10 years ago, almost every train cabin suppliers must invest a Fokker machine to enter this market. But this advance didn't last quite long. Other local competitors came in very fast. They have better service, better price. Even their machine is not as perfect as Fokker, but still many manufacturers accept alternative solutions. And Reichenbach Hammer was also very successful in the past 30 years in aerospace engine turbine industry. In this high-end application, Reichenbach Hammer took overwhelmingly advance, as the company not only provide good machine but also software, jig, tools, know-how, service, and everything. So even till now, local competitors still have no chance to replace the Heisinbach Hamil. So generally, if your company is planning to enter China market, please just follow this simple process to check if you have good chance to earn big money in China. If your current business customer is already in China, if yes, just follow the customer. For example, if your customer is like Volkswagen, Daimler, BMW, just follow them and you will earn good money. And most EU small and mid-sized companies succeeded in this way. If not, okay, if your market is not that concentrated, or you must develop a market by yourself, and you should ask, in your target market, does the competitors exist? And does my product have a competitive price compared with current market leaders? If the answer is yes, congratulations. You have good chance to replace the market leader and earn a big money in China. But for most small and mid-sized companies, their high-end products are almost in high price. Then in this case, you should ask, is my product irreplaceable in this market? For some invisible champion companies, the answer could be yes. And of course, you will earn money, but depends on how big is this niche market in China. And for most of the small and mid-sized companies, their products are high quality but with high price, and there's always low price competitors existing, and the potential market is big. In this case, you must ask if there is technical barriers to prevent competitors to copy your product and business and make your product irreplaceable in this market. If yes, congratulations, you could be the leader of this big market and earn big money in China. Otherwise, just stay home. So generally, China market is always price sensitive. A product with good quality and a reasonable price will have a big chance to earn big money. If the product have very high performance but too high price, you can earn more money, not really successful. For most small and mid-sized companies from EU, important thing is to design a good business strategy and setting up a business barrier to prevent copiers and followers, and everyone will have chance to be successful in China market. And thank you for your attention. If you have further questions, welcome to contact with us. Thank you.